I don't
Sorry, it's
remember
mute up.
this.
Welcome to Wrestling is Hard, where every side is the dark side of the ring. Follow us on Instagram and Twitter at hard4wrestling. Email questions and complaints. wrestlingishard@gmail.com. I'm Jim. Brandon, hello. Welcome.
Good evening.
That's right. We're starting a little late this week.
How you doing?
Good. I'm sucking down a club soda. I rushed home. Sigur Rós is performing at the Met. I had to go in and make sure that everything was copacetic.
I like them.
So do I. I saw them at the Man 5 years ago. It was pretty awesome. But everything's fine. We had like maybe 20 extra customers. They can handle it. I pay people to handle it. I don't need to be there. So I'm good to go. So I can take my time. I don't have to rush out of here.
There you go. Okay, fair enough. I was at your bar Friday, actually.
Did you see me?
No, I didn't.
No, I wasn't there. I was watching. What was I watching? Oh, we did Stranger Things over the weekend. We watched that.
There you go.
Oh.
I had to go to a wedding over the weekend for my girlfriend's coworker, so it's about as loose of a connection as you could possibly get.
Mm-hmm.
All of a sudden, I look at my calendar and it's like my whole summer is fucked with events for people that I know the least.
Mm-hmm.
All dead center of my weekend. So Saturday during the day. So I'm not doing shit this summer for somebody's cousin's graduating something. And I was spent most of my weekend bitching at my girlfriend saying it's fucking insane that I'm invited to this. I don't know these people at all. And then I went and I had fun.
Of course you will.
And
because you don't know anybody.
Yeah,
cares,
just like
right?
felt like NPCs.
Yeah.
I danced. I had a good time. And I'm sure when it happens again, I'll complain again because that's just my personality type. Is if I don't know what I'm getting myself into and I have to leave my basement, I'm going to complain relentlessly. But it wasn't too bad. Turns out people are okay.
That's a. I'm very similar. Like I'll make plans ahead of time, buy tickets to a show, whatever. Night of the show, night of the party, night of the whatever. I don't want to do this. Why did I agree to do this? This is the worst mistake I've ever made in my entire life. But I'm conscious. And my wife's the same way. We both know that once we get to what we're going to do, we always have a good time. But there's this mental block of actually stepping out of the house that's just insurmountable at times. I completely understand. I sympathize with you.
It's brutal, yeah. I mean, and you talked about, I think, when you went to Japan, the worst is sometimes when you get somewhere and then you go, oh, fuck, what did I do? I wish I was just home.
Right.
You got to get over that. Yeah.
Time. First 5 days in Japan was tough for me. I had a really hard time adjusting. Chris, hello.
That's my life.
How are you?
Excellent. How you doing?
I don't have these problems because I don't get invited to anything. So,
neither do I. I have to invite myself to things.
No, every time you are excited to go somewhere, like you can't fucking wait. And then you're excited to leave. And then you leave and you get there and you're excited to be there. It's never that good.
And
then when you don't want to go, you have a blast.
That's usually the case, I think.
It's usually the case. Yeah. It's
like
always
you
been
set
the case
yourself up for disappointment when you're excited about something. Then we're not excited about something. It can only go up from the point that you're at.
You guys might be like this too. I was an only child, so my whole life I'm keeping myself busy, and I have my own like onslaught of interest and things that I want to get into and plan to learn and do that I never actually execute on. There's just these things that I should be doing that I can't wait till I have the time to do. And I just get really resentful when people are, when I have to go do things for other people that I should care about. I'm like, oh, I have to go to your fucking wedding. This is what I'm supposed to be learning about X, Y, and Z. You're doing this that I never would do in the first place. Then you go and you have a good fucking time. And you're like,
I never
two
learned.
things combined.
So okay. Looking at my arm, I think I burned myself on my exhaust to my motorcycle or my scooter. It's either that or barbecue sauce. I can't figure out what it is.
Lick it.
I am going to.
One way to find out.
There's one way. Here we go. That's scarring.
Blood and guts.
That's scarring. All right. when I put my lock on my scooter, you got to go underneath. Kind of have to go underneath the exhaust to get to the wheel because it's all very short. And once a month, I burn my arm on it. This one I got myself pretty good. It's got a nice little scabbing going on there. I can't really tell what the tattoos. Anyway, you want to talk about wrestling or no?
Nah, I truly don't, but we will.
We will. There is lots of big news, though. Lots of stuff to talk about. But as promised, we'll talk about Stardom's Flashing Champions. Very good show. When the hell did it happen? 2 weeks ago? June 26th. No, that's wrong.
May 28th, 31st, something.
Yeah, May 28th, I believe it happened. Yeah, May 28th. We'll go through the card. Couple of things we'll talk about. The prominence match. Suzuki, Kane Fujita, and Mochi Natsumi defeated Cosmic Angels, Unagi, Mina, and Waka Tsukiyama. Little backstory, Waka Tsukiyama picked a fight with Suzu Suzuki, and as a result, got the living shit kicked out of her. Once again, Suzu Suzuki on display. Brandon, thoughts?
Yeah, entertaining undercard match. I felt like they make Suzu Suzuki, feel like a big deal. Waka put up a good fight there. It was respectful of that. They were able to kind of get the crowd too into prominence, being this outsider faction, alien faction, outsiders. You got us going. I feel like Suzu Suzuki, Jesus Christ, I'll get it right one of these times, felt like a big deal and will be entertaining so far every time I've seen her. So it hasn't been much, hasn't been long. That I don't know that she's even been with the company, but
yeah, we get 3 shows out of her so far. I think 4 shows, a couple of press conferences. 19 years old, ladies and gentlemen. She's got more character than most of the fucking people in professional wrestling.
Like a
interesting thing about
prodigy, right?
Yeah. The interesting thing about Suzu Suzuki is that the hardest part of this pro wrestling that people do is being entertaining. You can do all the bridges and backflips and shit you want, but she's constantly entertaining, which I think is fucking brilliant. Hopefully she has a long career. Chris, thoughts?
No, to your point, stories, I always say, make matches. The ability to athletic ability, I think, is secondary when it comes to pro wrestling. So you're 100% correct there. I don't want to. I'm not. Don't take this the wrong way. It was good. These guys are all really good. Everything you said about Suzu Suzuki was 100% correct. Trios matches. I've come to just. I just accepted the fact that I just don't fucking really like them. It's just a bunch of people getting their shit in. It's a good way to fire up a crowd. That number one. And for it to be early in the card, it's a great move. But I found the video of the press conference beforehand much more intriguing than the actual match.
Right.
That hair pulling and legit like people mad at each other, which was really good.
Yeah.
Then you had I guess she's with what's the deal with lingerie lady with Providence?
Oh,
this is a lady in straight up. She's a lady in straight up lingerie.
She brings a cat of nine tails to the ring and whips people with it. Oh yeah.
I didn't see that part. And then you had Sayaka, who's like giant, but she's probably only like 5'6" in real. Really? Yeah. But no, I mean, good stuff. You're still with me. You're fighting from underneath because it's trios match, and it's just, man, I just not a huge fan of them. But this was a good way to get there. I'm a huge fan of. I'm just going to shit all over everything I just said. I'm a fan of them to start a card, and this was the right place to put that.
Okay. Most importantly, Suzu. I'm assuming she's going to fight Unagi Sayaka next. We'll see where that goes. But let's move on. So, of the match, I thought it was fun. I think it's very important that Suzu Suzuki she's I'm assuming that Stardom fans don't really watch or that didn't really watch Ice Ribbon. And, this is some new blood. Instead of them being able to bring foreign talent in, they're just working within the Joshi community and just bringing people in here. This is good. I mean, they obviously Stardom has a good relationship with the girls from Prominence. So I think it's good. I think it was fun. And like I said, I got the point across that Suzu Suzuki's someone not to be messed around with. Everybody else in Prominence fill holes. You know what I mean? Like, they're not exact. I mean, Mochi Natsumi, the girl with the lingerie, she's really athletic for like her stature. But a kind of Fujita is just one to eat pins usually because she's just like a big hoss that takes a beating. Right. So go ahead.
I was just going to say, I will ask you to go outside of your typical hosting duties to make sure you're giving out your analysis on these Stardom matches as Chris and I continue to learn and get into it. I'm sure there's plenty to clean up.
Yeah, well, I'll fill in any blanks. No problem. Waka Tsukiyama, by the way, the girl that was picked to fight with Suzuki. I think she's had a 4-year career. She's never won a match. That's kind of her story now. It's her story. She's never won a match. You see her starting to get a little angrier and angrier, like she's picking fights with people she shouldn't be. Still hasn't won. There you go. Singles match for the high-speed championship. Izumi defeated Thekla. Thekla got hurt in this. She's out for a month. Brandon, thoughts?
Yeah, Zumi, another strong high-speed title performance there. I was interested to see that they chose Thekla to participate in the high-speed match because since she's, top of my mind, probably one of the least high-speed of their wrestlers, and she was clearly a little bit behind throughout this one, but still a very skilled wrestler. And while it wasn't the best fit, it was an entertaining and brief match, which I appreciate.
Yeah, 7.5 minutes. Chris, thoughts?
So first of all, Thekla looked awesome. She looks fucking ridiculous. Also, I didn't realize, it took me a minute while I was watching the match, that the braids coming out of her head are her limbs, because she's a spider. She has to have 4 limbs coming out of her head, and then arms and legs. That gives her 8 limbs. But yeah, I mean, I had a feeling that she was hurt when I saw the end of that match. But if it's, probably separated shoulder, that's about right. A month.
Yeah, they're saying they didn't reveal what the injury is, but the doctors said she needs to take a month off.
Yeah, it's probably a separated shoulder, because I saw I saw when it happened, and I was like, ooh, I think she had taken a I don't know if it was this match or not. Somebody had taken a finisher, and I was like, oh, that's a good way to separate somebody's fucking shoulder. But you know what?
She took a crash to her side. She landed funny.
Yeah, and she looked like she was in legit pain when she got slapped in that finisher. Mm-hmm. So, but Jim, I don't know about you, or Brandon, I don't know about you, but I've always wanted a trophy that just said "winner" on it.
I'm glad you're catching up to this. Yeah, they are recycled trophies. They're not. They all say winner.
Just go out, Go out and go to the store and just get ones engraved for a buck a piece with everybody's name on it with magnets on the back. You just swap them out. Right? Have a whole, just an envelope with every wrestler and their name engraved on a little gold plate. Pull it off, pop another one on.
I'm pretty sure
winner.
They make label makers now that aren't that ka-chung, ka-chung, ka-chung OG. Yeah. I think they're printed and clear. So you can just keep pulling them off and putting them on that clear piece of metal.
Nobody leaves. Winner.
Moving on. SWA World Championship can only be defended by foreigners, or you can't be from the same nation. I'm not really sure what the rules are. Mayo Iwatani, the champ, defeated Fukiken Des, who is from outer space. Brandon, thoughts?
Oh, this was the disgrace to the belt. I hate that they had to. I hate that they had to go.
5 minutes is better.
They had to go to outer space to make this fit into the limitations of the title. No, this was fucking fun. Fukigen Death is ridiculous. We get a moonsault in a 5-minute match from a clown.
And she does
a stocky clown.
She does a roll up German suplex too in the middle of the match, which she doesn't do with this character.
I would like to see her. I feel like every time I've seen her, it's been somewhat brief. So, I'm excited to see more of her. I'm not mad about that, but
Chris.
All right, so we're not even gonna. I assume somebody will bring it up before I did. The beating of Mayu with the paper.
Yes, beats the shit out of her with the newspaper.
Beats her in the newspaper. Look, Fukigen Des is somebody that I would part with hard-earned money to see.
I went to her anniversary party.
I mean, really, I really would.
Yeah, we went. Tina and I got tickets. We were one of the things we planned on doing was going to a wrestling show. So it was I think it was 2 days before Halloween. We were there, and I was just looking through. There's this big list. It's called Puota, and it comes up and it's like a live list, and it tells you who has tickets and everything, Japanese based. And I see it, and it's what's her name?
Anniversary of what?
It was her 10-year anniversary of as being a wrestler.
Gotcha.
The woman that plays Fukigenda. It's what's her name? Kari Yonayama. It's Kari Yonayama is her name. So it was her anniversary. So like all the stars of all Joshi were there, plus a bunch of other stars in Korakuen Hall. I got to see Hana Kimura. I got to see Aja Kong. And I got to see Fukigen Death. I got to see Kari Yonayama. And I got to see Kari Yonayama dressed up like Goku from Dragon Ball. She wrestled 3 fucking times.
Nice.
It was amazing. It was a great show. I'm so glad I went. As opposed to going to something serious, we went and saw that. It was a fucking blast. We laughed our asses off. Tina fell asleep for the first 10 minutes, but that's fine. It was a long day.
I was laughing and I brought that up. I'm still with the phase with Stardom where I will, a little inside baseball, go on and read like a review of this show just to make sure I'm not totally fucking off base with what I'm looking at.
Right.
And the one that I picked, it was like post wrestling, and the guy was like,
"Oh god,
this is a disgrace to the belt." I was pretty disappointed.
Yeah, okay.
Jesus fucking Christ,
disgrace to the belt.
So can I just tell you I do the same exact thing? Like I'll go and afterwards I'll watch the match. I remember when I was in high school, we had to read King Lear. And the book that we bought, you had to go buy the book. And then the book you bought, it was a certain one. And it had Shakespeare on one page. And then the explanation of everything just fucking happened on the next page because you can't understand shit. And that's exactly what I do. I watch the match. I find a website that has the results and the review of the match. And I'll watch the match and then I'll read the review just to make sure I'm catching everything that's happening, right? Because I'm not that familiar with it. And totally different guy said exactly the same thing. I don't even know what the website it was, but it wasn't that. And the guy was like, it's kind of weak that they had to go that Fukigen Death was from outer space.
It was great. The crowd was completely into it.
She
carries the newspaper because she's got a feud going with Tokyo Sports. Her and Saki, what the fuck's her name? Shit, my names are Saki Kashima. They showed up at Tospo's office, Tokyo Sports office, with the newspaper, and they're beating the shit out of the writers and stuff with the newspapers. They ended up on the front cover because of it.
So the question, 2 questions. Number 1, so this guy, both of these people had a problem with the being from outer space. That's a serious problem. But the sad clown doing metal horns constantly and getting beat up because she's in the middle of doing metal horns instead of beating her opponent up. That's okay. That's all right. Like, come on. The other thing I wanted to say though is like same with this match. I gotta say I always wanted a trophy at some point in my life that just said winner at the bottom of it.
Did you guys get a chance to see the high-speed belt that Izumi has? We were talking about the trophy. It looks like someone stuck it in the dishwasher or in the washing machine with bleach. It's totally washed out. The surface of it is completely smooth. It has no details on it.
It almost looks like it's got like a sideways looking some sort of cat on it.
Yeah, it's a lion, I believe.
Yeah. And but you can't tell what it is unless they get right on top of it, right? Yeah, I did see it.
Out.
Like it was like lost at sea or something and washed up.
Right. It's waterlogged. It's like all falling apart. There you go. So trophies and bad belts. Moving on. Tag team match.
Part of the
charm. Yep. White Knights. Tom Nakano and Kairi defeated the Queen's Quest team of Utami Hayashishita and Miyu Amazaki. Brandon, thoughts?
Yeah, the result was probably never in question here. I like the story of this, kind of that Kairi, as she inserts herself into Stardom, is pissed off at Utami Yashishita for got that one off. Sorry, Suzu. She's pissed off for like her not really breaking in the young wrestlers properly, so she's going to do it here. So with this one, it was the journey was the destination, and I have a feeling the journey is going to involve Mayu Amasaki getting the shit kicked out of her, and that is what happened. But she stood the test. Pretty entertaining, and then afterwards, what I was probably the most pumped on was you get the tease of the Kairi versus Utami singles match, which is like that's got to be the apex of what they have to offer right now as far as names and Stardom. So,
Chris, thoughts?
So Kyrie's gold, in my opinion. She does very little that's not amazing. The whole story of just teaching the young person a lesson, breaking them in. I mean, did a really good job of telling that story. One thing I noticed that I wish they would do more. They do it actually twice in this show. They do it in the main event as well. Kyrie gets stuck in the armbar, but the fight is the defense. It's not you get slapped into an armbar and then you sat in it for 5 minutes screaming until you made it to the ropes, right? They get into this battle so that she can catch the armbar. She kind of doesn't, and then when she does, Kyrie makes it to the ropes. So it actually puts a lot more emphasis on how devastating the submission is. So I really like that. That happens in the main event as well. I thought that was pretty cool. The other thing though is, has Tom Nakano ever impaled anybody on her halberd?
On her spears?
No, yeah, on her halberd that she brings out to the ring. Does she ever come out on a horse and then just stab somebody and lift them up in the air at any point, or no? It never happens?
Never happens.
Oh, man. And I can never get enough of that elbow drop. Sorry, that elbow drop is so good.
Yeah. I don't have much to say. You guys said everything. Miyu Amazaki, she's going to be a star, but she's 20 years old. She's got the look. She needs to clean it up a little bit, or like her moveset and everything, and she should be a star. She should be pretty good. But we get like a little Kyrie tease versus Tom Nakano, but then the big juice match, I think, is Kyrie versus Tommy. She might get one of the bigger shows. Excited about it. Kyrie not in the 5-star, which we talked about before. She's more of a special attraction, so I wouldn't expect to see her every big show. Moving on, got to start Stardom Championship. This is the tag team titles. Fukuoka Double Crazy defeats Donna Del Monde because Julia and Hazuki go outside and beat the piss out of each other for like 5 minutes while Kokomo beats the shit out of Mai Sakurai. Brandon, thoughts?
Yeah, I was half watch at this one in and out, to be honest. Caught the end. I would like to see more of Julia and Hazuki since they were uninterested in the result of the match and then taking it to each other outside, like you referenced. So,
Chris?
Yeah, I think that was the story they were going for, right? This was just the means to an end.
Yep, that's going to be our feud coming into something.
And I think I noticed was there a title match? Was there a trophy that said winner on it?
I'm sure. Maybe tell them.
You think it's the same one? They just like unscrew the top.
Well, we'll talk about the next match because I don't think there's two, because I think the same one makes an appearance in the next one.
6-woman tag match for Artists of Stardom Championship. This is the 6-person title. Hideo Tai with Saki Kashima, Momo Watanabe, and Starlight Kid defeated Mihime Poi, Maika Himika, and Natsupoi, who were the champs. Brandon, thoughts?
Yeah, Starlight Kid and Watanabe is as entertaining as it gets. So I thought they nailed the trios format here. I was thinking of what Chris said earlier about how he doesn't like it or fits at the beginning, and I think I genuinely agree with you, Chris. However, I will say, like, this made me think differently for a bit, where I was like, there is something here if you can pace it perfectly, which they just about did here. Those two kept it entertaining for most of the match, and neither of them were the ones that got him over the finish line. That was Saki Kashima. So good stuff.
Chris?
He nailed it. I mean, there was, once again, I kind of start glazing over in trios matches. But there was a lot of cool stuff. Momo fucking rules. Starlight Kid rules. There was a Rana at one point that got turned into a Boston Crab.
Yep.
That was pretty awesome. And then you have, I'm laughing all the time because Starlight Kid, first of all, they got Starlight Kid and Natsupoi. I looked, listed at both being 4'11", but Starlight Kid ain't 4'11". She's shorter than Natsupoi. So she's like 4'10", 4'9".
They're tiny.
It's ridiculous. I was like, how small are these people? And I went and
very
looked.
Tiny.
But no, it was a good match. I enjoyed it. But like I said, once we get to these trios matches, I start glazing over.
I've said this before, and I said at the beginning when we first started covering Stardom, is that I think Stardom in general does tag team better than anybody else in the trios. I think their trios matches are always really good. Definitely worth checking out, I think.
Okay. Well, I would say that they definitely don't go through that formula, and maybe if once I watch more of this stuff, I'll break out of that mindset, but they don't really go into that getting your shit in formula. They kind of mix it up a lot, which is really cool because, we're used to seeing trios matches. It's just a time filler. Like what I said, it's cool. You need those things, especially for the live audience. They got to go to the bathroom at some point.
Right.
So, like, I get it. You have to have that stuff, but and then we always talk about it before with New Japan. It's get all the dudes that aren't in a storyline, let the fans see their favorites in real life. I mean, Christ, we saw a match with all of our favorites and it had the fucking Rock and Roll Express in it. And I was fucking so mad. And then I just said, fuck it. At least I get to see these other dudes. And it was great.
Yeah.
I was going to say what this show had, and it occurred to me around this time in it, is I like, and a lot of it is the brevity of the matches and the context against each other. It's interesting the balance where it's like we just covered this AEW show where for extended periods you're kind of pulled out of the card because you're not interested for one reason or another. They're going to drag things out and everybody's going to get their shit in. And then you're kind of waiting for, there's either going to be the big high quality wrestling match or the very entertaining thing. And this had a good pace as you're moving through it of like, this is high quality wrestling and it's 10 minutes, or this is entertaining and it's 5 minutes, and they stack off of each other and you're like, I thought that was going to be the entertaining match. Then we're getting to serious shit, and then we kind of come back into a little bit of silliness, and it builds on top of it. The matches build on top of each other in like a really nice way where you're like, this is a good show. They're actually just putting on a fucking show in a nice format, which is just like unheard of from the wrestling pay-per-views that we cover.
Yeah.
I don't know if that made sense or not. But
it totally did. Saki Kashima has won more Artist of Stardom championships than anybody else. They treat her like she's an old lady. She's like 28. She's like the mom of Hideo Itami.
That's the old Saki Kashima.
28. She's 28 years old. Singles match for the Wonder of Stardom Championship, a.k.a. the white belt. Sayakami Tani defeated Mirai, the winner of Cinderella. This match is fucking awesome. Brandon, thoughts?
Yeah, I'll keep it brief. High drama throughout. Sai Kamitami is as good, if not the best, of anybody that I watched on this whole show. It might have been my favorite because I truly didn't know who was going to win. I thought she was done at a couple points, and this got me in that sense, which I usually don't get hung up on, where I'm like, holy fuck, what is going to happen here? So,
Chris,
I was gonna say what Brandon just kind of said exactly what I was going to say. No. We had the same opinion on it. It was this, you think you got it down, but they flip the script on you, which is always a lot of fun. You know what I mean? When you think you think you can plot out the ending and it's not what you think it's going to be. So yeah. And then you get a little challenge at the end.
Yep.
With Starlight Kid. Which was good because I'll always take Starlight Kid. So yeah, good stuff, man. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, Mirai did a great job even though she's a powerhouse, she was the underdog in this. She sold well for this match. I think it's the Sayakami Tani's first match where I watched where I was like, okay, she's really the champ. Like, I believe that she is. Like, it's been a build to this, and I think it's been intentional. And now you're like, oh shit, she's the real deal. She's not just the first time white belt champ now. And we're getting Starlight Kid. So it should be ridiculous. No knockout, no count out, knockout, and submission match for the World of Stardom Championship. We got Suri, the champ, defeats Risa Sera from Prominence. Brandon, thoughts?
Yeah, they make it abundantly clear up front that this was going to be a fight, and that it was. This was wild as hell. I'll just skip right to one of the crazier things I've seen this year is the Suri getting cracked across the face with a kendo stick, and that sound and reaction was just fucking horrific. I'm not sure if that was intentional or not, but oh my god, I didn't think I was going to see that when I fired up StardomWorld.com, Stardom-World.com. My god,
the crowd was just like completely after it happened because you still can't cheer yet. Chris, thoughts?
Yeah. Oh, sorry.
Okay,
if I could just say one more thing, I was like, right, it was kind of ripe with cheating from Prominence, which I'm not a huge fan of. I usually don't see Stardom do so no problem there. Yeah, just keep it brief when that shit's going on, especially at the headline of a pay-per-view. It makes sense there. And then a maniacal finish. I fucking love Suri. Very, very like intentional, like a killer. Like, okay, how do I get out of here successfully when I'm outnumbered, break the kendo stick, punt her in the head,
Oh
choke
my
her
God, that kick to
unconscious.
the fucking head.
Yeah.
Oh, this did ending
Like,
of this match is fucking insane.
That's what I would do if I was like in a legit fight and you thought you like, okay, it's my back's against the wall. What do I need to A, B, C? How do I get out of here successfully? Move on. And holy shit, then fucking Momo Watanabe comes out and is like, yeah, I want some of that. So pretty sick ending to it.
Fuck
Sorry,
yeah.
go ahead, Chris.
Chris.
No, I mean, look, Joshi wrestling for the win here, right? You get two women, really trying to go out there and hurt one another without the like traditional, I complain it all the time, the traditional sassy women arguments with extensions down to their fucking ankles. Like, it was real people fighting. I really like that. The ref catches the kendo stick at one point, which is quite strange.
Yeah.
But go back. Let me reverse because I forgot to say this. Fukiga Des setting up the ref getting DDT'd, which was also awesome. But the match, I'm in agreement with you. I think it's over. It's so overdone. The heel faction coming in and interfering, right? Like, I mean, we got to that point in the middle of last year where it was like every time the Young Bucks would look like they were going to lose, fucking asshole number 1 and asshole number 2, fucking Gallows and Anderson would come down to the ring doing some kind of a stupid dance. And remember that whole period where it was just the same episode every week. And once you see it so many times, it's like, it's just ridiculous. To
every
like,
AEW fan has to be like 6 years old or factioned to death at this point.
Yeah.
That stuff gets on your nerves. Go ahead.
Right. I mean, if you remember, like, Brandon, I don't know how good your recollection of it was, but like when the NWO first showed up on the scene and they were beating the crap out of everybody, we hadn't kind of seen that for a while. So it was like, holy shit, look what's going on here. And it has so much more gravity to it, right? When they do it in something like Stardom where you don't see it a lot, and it was going on constantly, right? Outside the ring, I mean, Jim, who was throwing all the shoulder tackles?
Fuck, what's her name? She's injured right now. Oh, no, that's Amy Sorry. That's she's with God's Eye series new faction.
Yeah, I have in my notes shoulder tackles galore because Shasta, gotta get it, get some, and then they just started pulling each other's hair. It was awesome, right?
That was great.
So
it's
I mean, that's a good. I was gonna say, like you said, Brandon, Shiri catches the beat down, like completely catches. She still manages to get the W because she's a badass. This is if you want to sell somebody on Joshi, here's a match to sell somebody on Joshi. It's got your traditional good guy versus bad guy tropes with all the bad guy cheating going on, which is like, that'll feed that to you and be like, oh, okay, yeah, this is what I'm used to seeing, but it'll get your eyes open to some new talent and new way of telling stories. And if I'm not mistaken, at the end, I think they present Shuri with a trophy that just says winner.
This isn't going to get all
everybody's going to get one of them for Christmas this year. Winner. And I think they couldn't even change the ribbons on it.
Yeah, same thing
over and over again.
I'll move on. I'm good.
You sure? Trying to figure out somebody's name. Yeah, this is ridiculous. One thing that I like about professional wrestling when it's done well is, okay, so you have Suri, she was in UFC. She's known for kickboxing, for grappling, and then Risa Sera is just like deathmatch queen now. She's got her own deathmatch federation. Go out of your way to check out her versus Suzu Suzuki from the last Prominent show. It's on YouTube. You can watch it for free. It's about 20 minutes. So she's like a traditional professional wrestler now. All her moves are professional wrestling. She has no real counters for the kicks. So every time Shuri laid one in, it was like she sold it like she didn't know what to do about it. So she started cheating. She started using the weapons, the lack of rules for this match. No count out, no knockout submission. So she's using the fucking kendo stick and she's beating the shit out of Suri. She's got her friends showing up and cheating. So then Suri, what does she do? She uses what she's best at. She kicks her in the fucking face, and she chokes her out. Risa Sera, being a psychopath, doesn't give up. Her, which you rarely see in professional wrestling, her corner had to throw the towel in for her to get the submission.
Yeah,
they had to give up.
Saw that
because she was going to die. She was willing to die instead of losing to Siri. Come on, man. It doesn't get much better than that. It's fucking great. And Risa Sera looks fucking brilliant. She lost. She still looks brilliant. Go ahead, Brandon.
The strangle plus the shake.
Yes.
Is like chef's kiss. That's good
Love
stuff. If you're choking someone out and giving them whiplash at the same time.
Yes, so good.
I just can't express enough how much I appreciate that moment where you get like, okay, the villain has countered. Here's every trick in the book. Here comes their friends. Here comes the weapon. It's within the rules. I'm fucked. And Siri, like the champion, having the wherewithal to just be like, I got to get out of here in 3 fucking minutes before they can think of the next thing that they need to do. We gotta wrap this thing up. Kick to boot to the teeth, strangle and shake your head. See you later.
Fucking
nice
brilliant
stuff. Very poignant.
Good stuff. Good show. Great show. As a matter of fact, I think it's one of the best shows we've had this year overall, top to bottom. Very fun. Next coming up, we got a couple. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was gonna say I would say the best like show of the year.
Overall?
I don't know that any match was my favorite, but as far as construction, that thing moves pretty clean.
Yeah, and it built to the end. We get big events. We get Saki Kashima win. We get Sayaka Mitani win, and then we get the big match at the end between Prominence. So coming out of this, we have Stardom fight in the top. I'm imagining it sounds like a circus. Fight in the top. Come on down. Let's see any big standout matches. Most importantly, I think the big one is Tom Nakano and Natsupoi, which we've seen before. But we're getting a steel cage match. This, I believe, is the first time we've had a steel cage match in Stardom. And it kind of doesn't make any sense. So you get the Stars team of Mayu Iwatani, Koguma, and Hazuki versus Queen's Quest, Tami Hayashishita, Azumi, and Sayaka Mitani. And the only reason that this match exists is so that Koguma, Mayu Iwatani, Azumi, and Sayaka Mitani can jump off the cage. That is the only reason this makes sense. There is no feud. They're just doing it. I think it's going to be a must-watch, though, because I think they're all going to jump off the fucking cage. Brandon, thoughts?
My first thought is just like, where are they getting the cage from? They can't even get that fucking trophy. Who's making their cage?
It's going to be made out of old trophies. They're just going to X them all together.
It's not like you could call. It's not like you call U-Haul or something and rent one. Someone's got to build that shit from scratch. I'm curious to see what this cage looks like.
Hope it's the old blue one from WWE. Chris, thoughts?
Yeah, I'd like to see people jumping off cages, especially they usually don't jump off cages.
Yeah,
I'm definitely down. I don't give a shit if it makes any sense. Just fucking jumps people off cages.
Tom Nakano and Natsupoi had during the press conference jammed spaghetti into each other's face. So there you go. So much so that they ate the food off of their faces after. Shit gets real gay in these fucking.
These girls are having fun. These girls are
really
having
horny.
blast.
It's really horny.
Oh shit!
I love it. It's great. I love it.
If anybody, I'm sorry, if anybody wants to, just real quick, if any listeners want to watch a good movie where people smash food in each other's face, might I recommend Penitentiary 2, starring Ernie Hudson and Mr. T. Just want to throw it out there.
And Rudy Ray Moore.
Yeah, a little guest star. Little guest star.
There you go. Terrible film. Very funny though. Mayu Iwatani is getting a movie made out of her life. Runaway Wrestler, I believe it's called. If you want some backstory on Mayu Iwatani and you want to cry a little bit, there was a show on Vice called The Wrestlers. I think he was the singer from the band Fucked Up. I think Fucked Up is a Canadian band. Yeah. So he goes over and he's just trying to find out what attracts people to wrestling. And they have one episode I think it's called The Best Wrestlers on the Planet. And they go to Stardom and they talk to everybody from Stardom. But they touch on like the stuff that like weird, creepy, sexy parts of it. And it's actually very entertaining. But they talk to Mayu Iwatani about her story. And it's very tragic.
What was their conclusion?
That it's creepy.
That is creepy.
It's creepy. It was back when Azumi was like 16. So they're talking to her and Rossi says she looks like a grandma at one point. Like, it's fucked up, dude. It's weird, but they're trying to point out the fact that they're sexualizing kids for these creeps that show up and give them gifts.
Yeah, I really should just start grappling with that thought. I kind of just kicked that can down the road, but
yeah, they've stopped high. I mean, they kind of don't do underage kids anymore. All the kids that are involved in Stardom that are on the cards have been with them for a long time. I don't think they're bringing kids in anymore. I think Bushiroad's trying to stay away from that. They used to have kids that were 12 years old.
For like
wrestling.
obviously one reason only. Well, maybe two. 12 is a little young, but
creepsters. They're creepy.
They're freaks. Them freaks. Yeah, who's playing her? John
Japan's
Cena?
Finest Wrestlers. That's what the episode's called. It's very interesting. It's very cool. But Mayu Iwatani, she was a shut-in. She ran away from home, and she became one of the best professional wrestlers on the planet. She's getting a movie made about her life, and I'm excited about it. I'm gonna fly to Japan just to see it.
Who's playing her? John Cena?
I don't know yet. They're casting. I wish. John Cena's playing her. Who's Hannah Montana? Miley Cyrus is gonna play her. I can't wait. Chris, you gonna go see Mayu Iwatani's movie?
Yeah. Why not? Why not? We'll see it right after we see the new Ultraman.
Yeah, whenever that's coming in the United States. All right, what else we got? Let's talk about Stardom Bushiroad announced a Stardom and New Japan joint show. It's going to happen on November 20th. Already teased Azumi and Hiromu Takahashi versus Desperado and Starlight Kid. We're going to have mixed tag matches, and I'm here for it. Brandon, thoughts?
Also here for it. Let's do it. I'm glad that they're addressing it that way and not going, here's a little bit of Stardom, here's a little New Japan.
I'm sure we're going to have some of that, but let's get the big stars and the big matches working together.
Oh yeah, I'm not assuming everything is mixed, but the fact that they're doing that it caught me off guard. So good for them.
Chris, excited?
Yeah, and I'm down with the mix too because a couple things. Number one, just telling me what a big deal it is that Stardom, will be teaming in a New Japan show, which I understand that's a big deal for them to be doing a show like that, but that shouldn't be a big deal. It should have not been a big deal 70 years ago. So like to sell me on that, you got to understand this is a big deal that they're doing that. Nah, it's not. It's ridiculous that they haven't done it yet. So if you don't give me that,
it makes
talent, then
the same company owns both. I don't know why they haven't done a joint show before.
Right. It's just, but I mean, like, that's what they'll, how they do that sometimes where it's like, well, what you don't get is that, man, like, it's a big deal in Japan. Well, it shouldn't be. End of story. I'm sick of it. Yeah. I'm down.
Hold on. I think you're a little wrong there because Cyberfight does Cyberfight Festival and they have TJPW, they have DDT, and they have Noah all together on one show. They've done this a couple years in a row. So it's not, it's not unheard of. But no, I think it's stupid that Bushiroad hasn't done this yet. They got money to make by doing this. It makes no sense.
I guess what the point I'm making is that, like, do you remember what was it, Wrestle Kingdom a few years ago where they had the Starlight, they had the Stardom dark match?
Yeah, they've had I think the last 3 years in a row.
It's a big deal. They're doing the dark match. They've never done this before in Stardom, and the women don't wrestle in New Japan. Why?
Well,
I understand
okay, I'm on the other side of that. I don't want Stardom in my New Japan. I don't want New Japan in my Stardom. I want them separated.
Okay.
I don't want a women's division of New Japan. So
no, I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is that going by this Japanese way of thinking or New Japan's way of thinking that it was like taboo that they weren't doing it. They wouldn't have women.
I don't think that's right though.
No, you don't? Taboo. Okay. Well, I don't know. I don't know.
I get they separated it. It's separate. There's women's wrestling. There's men's wrestling.
Okay. Yeah. Well, if that's the case, then cool. All right, that's awesome. But it was almost like, I don't know. I always just assumed it was the fact that it was like, no, the women and the men can't be together. It is a violation of our culture, and that's why I was just kind of like,
That's what I thought too.
Yeah, I was just under that impression.
That's what I thought too. It felt like it was like because it wouldn't be as entertaining. You wouldn't want to see that kind of attitude, which is probably fucked up on my
I'm sure that there's people out there that are like that. They're like that with fucking AEW and with WWE and with every other wrestling. Oh, I don't want to see girls. I just want to see men being men. That's part of it. You know what I mean? That's part of your when your fan base is probably mostly men. You have this preconceived notion what professional wrestling is. I would imagine that's probably what you're thinking. You know what I mean?
Well, there's like a
Yeah.
fine line. There's a fine line between like, yeah, you do something well, you do that. This other company does something well, you do that, which is what you're saying, Jim. And that is the correct answer. Cool. There was also some part of it that feels like what Chris and I are saying, where it's like, I think there was a Showtime thing about Bear Bryant where they tried to pump him up, and it was like, Alabama segregates their football team, and it's like, well, this happened in 1975, 12 years after everybody else had an interracial football team, and it only happened once they lost 56-0 to USC, and it's like, well, this is kind of fucking late and fucked up. So it's like, which one of these two scenarios is it?
I would imagine in Alabama's case, it's probably they realized that they were going to have to bite the bullet and stop being racist just to win.
In that case, it was like, well, they got their doors blown off by the mixed race team, so that's why they did. That's the only reason I bring that example up is because it's like, well, this could feel like that, where it's like, oh, well, now that it's just so far past when it's okay, you're doing this kind of show. But I don't even want to get into this fucking conversation. Chris just took his headphones off and left.
We could talk about it because I guarantee Stardom talent doesn't get paid the same amount as New Japan talent does. You know what I mean? Like, we know how that works. Pay scale is probably definitely skewed. No way. It's skewed here. Forget about it. We're super sexist. They're super duper sexist over there. So, all right, let's move on. Best Super Juniors. Ready?
Yes.
Did you guys catch the final?
No, I didn't. Oh my God.
Yeah, the show stunk.
Oh, okay.
The final was good. No, the show was fucking terrible. It was all 6-man matches. It was terrible. 6 and 8-man matches. The final was good though. I watched it on the treadmill. The perfect time. It was 30 minutes. 30 minutes. It was like 31 minutes. Romo Takahashi defeated El Desperado. It was a good match. You kind of think that you're going to get sick of this stuff because they've wrestled each other so many times, but they changed it up. They did like a knee gimmick for Hiromu, and El Desperado had like his ribs were screwed up. So they changed it up a little bit. Time Bomb wins it. It was pretty good. But the exciting part, you ready for this? The Dominion card has been announced. Dominion, the second biggest show. Well, maybe it's one of the top 3. So, like, the big shows for New Japan, we got Wrestle Kingdom. You got Dominion. You got G1 Climax Final. Are you ready for this? Let's go through the card. Probably second or third biggest show of the year. 20-minute time limit. Tenzan, Master Wato, and Taguchi versus Aaron Hanare, Francesco Akira, and TJP.
Tenzan.
20-minute time limit.
Tenzan?
Isn't he in the at-risk
He's at risk
COVID
of his foot
people
falling off.
COVID at-risk people?
Also, they've said there's no cheering yet. Hopefully we'll get it at Dominion, but they're cheering anyway, the crowd. I don't know why they're not just letting them do it. 20-minute time limit. Hiromu Takahashi, Naito, and Bushi versus Taiji Ishimori, Ace Austin, and El Phantasmo. Ready for this one? If you're not so excited, get ready for this one. You ready? 30-minute time limit. Toru Yano versus Doc Gallows. Brandon, thoughts?
Hey.
God, what the fuck, man?
That was me talking, yeah.
Yeah, 60-minute time limit. Never open weight 6-man tag championship. We got the challengers. Yoshinobu Kanemaru, Zack Sabre Jr. and El Desperado versus Evil, Sho, and Yujiro Takahashi. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. In 2022, Yujiro Takahashi has a belt. Brandon, thoughts?
Oh man, this is weekly or bi-weekly. Our worst segment is when we go over an upcoming New Japan card and just groan
at this
with
point
30-second increments.
At this point, when I'm going through the entire card from top to bottom, you got to know that stinks. Chris, thoughts? Yujiro Takahashi, champ.
I'm down. Harvey Keitel, Japanese Harvey Keitel's the champ.
Japanese Harvey Keitel.
We're just building a Chris and Brandon groan compilation on our YouTube, where it's just like week after week of us being like,
fuck.
60-minute time limit. IWGP Tag Championship match. The challengers, the Great O'Carney and Jeff Cobb versus the champs, Chase Owens, and Bad Luck Fale.
I love
Bad
Bad Luck
This would be
Fale
a good
and
like
I
first
don't
match,
care.
right?
It'd be a great
like
first,
number
yeah.
one.
Their
I definitely
tag
would-
division. Sorry.
Go ahead.
Their tag division has always been so bad.
Just take a couple guys, stick them together, go, you're a tag team now. Very WWE.
Why do you think that is?
I don't know. I think mostly recently it's because they can't get any foreigners in. But that only excuses the last couple of years.
Yeah, it's always been bad.
60
It
minute
feels like
limit.
nobody goes
Go
to
ahead.
New Japan. It feels like nobody goes to New Japan with the intention of participating in a tag team.
No,
And then
they're like,
they just
I
have it
wanna-
as an aftermath.
yeah, like I want to wrestle like the big guys. I don't want to be in a tag team. I don't want to be stuck with this dude. All right, here we go. You ready for this? This ties into our AEW talk. All right, let's start with that. Okay, so CM Punk's hurt. CM Punk needs surgery. He's out. This news comes out after they announced Tanahashi. They pretty much announced Tanahashi versus CM Punk at their what's the fuck's the name of the show? Forbidden Door in Chicago. They pretty much asked. Chris and I fucking minds blown by this, right, Chris? Thoughts on that idea?
Almost cried.
Before we shit on it.
Almost cried.
Right.
Yeah.
This is like a dream matchup.
Can can I just real quick go back to what I said earlier that you get two guys who've been around a while. Tana doesn't move the best. Punk doesn't move the best. Both of them are banged up for years of doing this, but they can both tell stories, and stories make fucking matches. And this was going to be awesome.
Was going to be awesome. Punk's out. So, 60-minute time limit. This is the AEW Interim Championship Elimination Match. Winner faces whoever wins the title, the interim title in AEW. We got a Hiroshi Tanahashi versus Hiroki Goto. Brandon, thoughts?
I wonder if it's going to be the guy that they already flew out there to make the TV appearances. If he's had the match, now they're stepping back and throwing Goto into this. So
yeah, you think they're going to be
compelling.
Like, we've changed our mind.
At this point, Tana.
Go ahead.
At this point, Tana. Sorry, I'm thinking of this live, so that's why there's probably a delay between my thoughts. But at this point with Tanahashi, it's like just save him for the big shit. Like we don't need to just need to qualify for fucking shit.
I guess this is to add some suspense. I don't fucking know why they're doing this. I have no idea. And it's not like there's a build to it. It's not like Goto was like, you know what? I haven't been doing shit for the last fucking 5 years. I lose all the time. Every single one of my title challenges, I'm losing. I'm sick and tired of it. Tanahashi, I'm taking you on because I really want that AEW championship. No, it's not that. It's just like all of a sudden it's like, yeah, Hiroki Goto is going to wrestle Tanahashi.
Imagine that call, right? Like after you just kind of held the company down, been working on during the pandemic, and you're just like, yeah, Goto, we're going to need you to there's now a qualifying match for the match that we've already put Tanahashi in, and it's going to go 28 minutes. It's going to be at Dominion.
The 60-minute time limit. It's definitely going 28 minutes. Listen, no knock on Goto. I find Goto.
Sure.
Yeah, sure. Whatever, boss. Can I just go home now and hang out with my kids? No knock on Goto. He's very entertaining, but come on. Chris, you excited?
No. What happened with Goto? Like Goto was like, was he in the doghouse for the last 5 years? Like you remember he was like going to be a big deal. He was training under waterfalls, and
yeah,
he came to the ring. He was all painted white with kanji on him, and he
lost,
and that was the end of him. That was it.
I love that storyline. He did all this training, these montages. He's underneath the freezing cold fucking waterfall. He comes painted in all white, and then he lost. Clean finish.
That was straight up. Yeah, that was straight up Dragon Ball Z right there.
Lost.
Episodes of Vegeta training come out loses.
That's honestly as good of a story as any.
He just loses.
Like, some guys just fucking.
They just lose.
Give it their
all.
all.
The only difference between pro wrestling, like the only difference between pro wrestling and like any other actual sport, is that when you lose that many times, eventually your contract just gets canceled and you go home.
Everybody loses in life, but then they tell themselves, I didn't really want to win that. That wasn't for me. It's fun to watch someone
so
say.
weird.
It's fun to watch someone say, "No, this is for me. This is my number one goal in the world," and then you still lose.
Oh man! All right, no time limit. This match has 0 time limit. KOPW 2022 Championship match: Shingo Takagi versus Taichi. Brandon, 0 time limit.
Yeah, like how they for all of these they cap the craziness. Like this could only get so crazy, and then when you get to Taichi, they're like we couldn't dare cap the madness that Taichi will produce.
Well, if you remember correctly, last KOPW match was most pinfalls.
Oh,
And I believe Taichi was like, "Well, you wouldn't have beaten me if we had more time. I would have beaten you." So I think Shingo was like, "Well, you know what? We'll do it. No time limit. We'll just keep going." Go ahead.
I like how you phrased that, Jim. If I remember correctly,
if you remember
that
correctly,
piece of information was ever existed in my head in the first place.
Yes. If you remember correctly, Chris, that's.
Why don't have they ever done the KOPW? Wasn't that the one where they were going to do in the dark?
Yes, they never did that one.
And they never did that where the lights could turn on and off.
Blindfolds or bags over their heads.
Wait, what was the other? It was supposed to be what? In the dark, right?
Yeah, there was the options were either wrestle in the dark,
Maybe
the lights are going to be turned on and off, and then they wrestled, I think, with bags over their heads. But then Dick Togo, he just turned the lights off anyway.
How do we know that Dick Togo did it? Was there a shot of him like?
Oh, he came out like rubbing his hands together,
a big Frankenstein switch,
yes.
like
Abdullah the Butcher getting electrocuted.
Oh no!
Like the Phantom of the Opera.
Yeah. Comes Dick Togo comes swinging in on a chandelier. 60-minute time limit. Never open weight championship. The champ Tama Tonga versus the challenger Machine Gun Carl Anderson. Brandon thoughts. These fucking carnies keep getting jobs, don't they?
Yeah. Oh man. Like as if you could try to stay up and watch this, they're going to put you right back to bed.
Mm-hmm. Well, this is up to date, this thing. It's a 60-minute time limit IWGP United States Heavyweight Championship 3-way match. The champ is Juice Robinson. I read that he's hurt, but maybe he'll be back by Dominion. When the hell is Dominion? The 12th. I don't know if he's going to be back, but according to this, he's going versus Will Ospreay and Sonata is back. So we get a 3-way. Brandon, thoughts?
High drama, man. Phew. It's like half the match is like they're back, they're participating. Who knows?
What's this guy doing here? Chris, I haven't come to you because there's nothing to talk about, but there is now.
Well, I was going to say, is this the period in the podcast where people just start tapping that 15-second forward button?
Yeah, right.
New Japan shit. It's like when you get to the ad.
Might as well be talking about a Manscaped.
Yeah, Manscaped or
MeUndies.
Mask, vax, and test. Let's put COVID to rest. That's the one that's been popping up a lot.
Oh, that's a good one. That's like it's like a Schoolhouse Rock one.
Yeah, I heard it in the fucking supermarket the other day. I was like,
tell the COVID to vamoose.
Oh, is that an actual quote?
One point he tells the COVID to vamoose.
All right,
vamoose. I was laughing. I was going to send this to you guys. There's a new one now on Sports Talk Radio because they always have the most pathetic of them because they know their target audience, and it's just like, is your asshole full of hemorrhoids and you're bald and call these people. There's a new guy, Big Lou, in Philadelphia.
Oh, yeah.
And it's if you're over 50 years old and you're overweight and you might even be pre-diabetes or type 2 diabetes, he can still get you $1 million life insurance policy for when you explode for the low price of $100 to $200 a month. It's like,
yeah, Jesus Christ.
Isn't
he the one he's like, talk to Lou, I'm also on pills.
No, yeah.
Yes.
But it's not him that says it. It's the announcer. Talk to Lou. He's on meds too.
They say something to the line like, if you're a big boy in big trouble, call Big Lou. And I was like, holy shit.
Hey, so how about this? Go to the gym yet? All right, forget it. I'll get accused of fat shaming.
No, fat shamer. Fat shamer.
Right. Yeah. Go to the gym, you fat fuck.
Because the alternative would be that you just want to watch these people die, right? God forbid you give them any advice.
60-minute limit. IWGP World Heavyweight Championship. The champ, Kazuchika Okada, versus the challenger, Jay White. I hate to say that. Well, I don't hate to say this because I'm a fan of both these guys, but I think Jay White's winning this. Does Okada need the title to go do fucking Forgotten Door? I don't think he does. I think Jay White does this.
Are they both doing Forgotten Door?
I think they're all doing the Forgotten Door.
So if they're all doing the Forgotten Door, it doesn't matter who has the fucking title. I think Jay White would be cooler with the title than Okada. Okada is fucking... He floats down from heaven on a golden pathway of Okada dollar bills. Yeah. I mean, remember like the Tom and Jerry where he's got to get the escalator to heaven? That's where he comes down that. I mean,
the devil's at the bottom.
Yeah, he's fucking, he don't need shit, that dude.
It sets up a good story too, because then you can get Okada to win the G1. We haven't seen that in years. That'd be a good one.
The question you're asking, right, is what's more carny? Is it more carny for them to punish Jay White for not sticking it out through the pandemic and make him lose when he should win? Or is it more carny for them to just put on an awful card and then just appease you with at least an Okada massive one?
I think they're both, well, no, I think it's more corny to punish someone. There's imaginary punishments.
Let me just add this though.
Yes.
We're looking at it from our eyes, right? If you look at it now, you look at it from the Japanese crowd's eyes. First of all, Gallows and Anderson were over as fuck and people hated them. Mm-hmm. Them coming back is going to be a big deal in New Japan. We won't like it, but the people that haven't seen them on fucking TV in years may like that. But we won't know because you're not allowed to cheer or boo, so you'd have no idea. But I honestly think, like, I think if you look at it from the perspective of the Japanese fan, they haven't seen these guys in a long time. They may be very excited to see them.
Well,
and then you'll realize how not
on that.
Yeah, well, you got to remember how over fucking like Carl Anderson was supposed to be the new foreigner.
Yeah, that's
right?
a long time ago,
well, I get it, but he also hasn't been. But it's not like he's been coming back. He hasn't been there, right? He was in WWE, and then they're running around in Impact, and yeah, that's right. I'm gonna act like an '80s wrestler for the other dude. That whole fucking fiasco. But I don't know. I just think that might be big for the Japanese fans. It ain't gonna be big for me. I can't stand looking at either of those fucking dudes.
Brandon.
Yeah, there's this whole like I always see it on YouTube. It cracks me up because I'm like sucked into wrestling YouTube. Of like Carl Anderson actually could have been one of the greatest pro wrestlers of the modern era if he didn't team up with Doc Gallows. And it's just like I don't fucking think so. I think this is just a bunch of grown men that are forced to stare at like a 25-piece puzzle and rethink it again and again. It's just not that complicated. And they're just like, well, if you flip it upside down and look at it this way, there could be more to the story. It's just like Doc Anderson and Gallows are just not that good.
No.
Does that make any sense?
Yes.
It makes perfect sense.
Yeah. J-Way wins. I don't know. I have no idea. All right. You want to dive into AEW since it's the talk of the town now?
Talk of the town.
Talk of the town, brother. CM Punk hurt. We know that. How about...
I would say on the CM Punk thing, since we didn't get to it earlier.
Yeah, good.
I thought that was pretty confusing how they laid out like what was happening with the title.
Yeah, let's talk about that.
Well, can I let me go ahead, because we're going to get into this, but I want to bring up a real quick thing first and then we can, if you don't mind, we can talk about that title thing. CM Punk comes out and wrestles a trios match. Then they do the Tana announcement. And then they come out after the fact on the same day.
No, it was live.
Oh, okay. All right. That's where I was confused. All right. I'm sorry. I didn't realize. I thought that they recorded them. Thank you for clearing that up. Because you look at the way I looked at it. I was like, wait, what?
They did what
is going on?
They do the same thing when they go to Chicago. They did a big deal when they're in New York. They stretch it across the entire week. So they do everything live.
Okay.
I thought the same thing, and then it was like, oh, this is at the Kia Center, and then this is at the Toyota Center.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
All the cars.
All right. Forgive me. They're going with all the, can't buy American. Should have been at Chevy and Dodge dealerships and fucking Gary Barbera.
Ram Heaven.
Ram
Los
Heaven.
Angeles.
Yep. All right. I'm sorry. Forgive me. Proceed, please.
But
Right,
still, no, I think the point is valid. Sorry. Like,
no, it is.
what, did he get hurt on Wednesday? And then
Must have.
that's what fucked it up?
Or he got hurt. There's rumor that he got hurt when he did the dive into the crowd on Wednesday.
I thought that, like, when he dove into the crowd Wednesday night, I said to myself, what happens when he gets hurt? He's an old man, and that's a big dive.
Mm-hmm.
He's
having fun.
There was some part of me, and this is so stupid, and I don't even actually think this, but a thought crossed my mind where I was like, had to go do MMA for those couple years, wasting your fucking time. Now the moment you get put back on top, you fucking blow your leg out.
Yeah, he needs surgery.
Do we know what the injury is?
We do not.
This is foot or something. I've heard, but yeah, I don't know.
It's a hockey injury. His lower body injury.
Lower body injury.
Lower body.
LBI.
Yeah, it was either him jumping into the crowd or it could have happened during the Hangman match, but he didn't see a doctor until it was too late. He'd already worked the show. So there you go. But anyway, it was a pretty decent match. And then you get Tanahashi come out. We already talked about that. That's ruined. Then, okay, so for the New Japan aspect, they add Goto to the mix. But on the AEW aspect, AEW, they're going to have Jon Moxley, who is the number one contender, versus the winner of a fucking battle royal. And then that winner will be the interim champ, which I assume the interim champ will face CM Punk whenever he's healthy. That'll probably be his first defense against, or when Punk comes back, they'll have to defend against CM Punk. But they didn't explain it very well. It took a while for me to process it. Brandon, thoughts?
Yeah, I was just like actually surprised by it because I watched this live once I saw this earlier part in the show that we'll get to kind of going viral. I was like, I gotta turn this on. And I was genuinely spent 5 minutes on my phone searching like what are the logistics of how they're handling this situation. And to the point where there was a main event happening and the commentators were still trying to like collect the information and feed it back to you in a better manner. And CM Punk referenced it in his monologue where he was like, I tried to give up the fucking belt. Tony doesn't want me to, basically. So we're doing something else here. And then what else are we doing? We don't know. Just calling out another one of these moments where AEW, which they do often, is just like, who's producing this fucking thing?
Right. Also, they did this with the TNT belt, too. They did interim. So they just take it off the guy, do a tournament. What the fuck? Chris, thoughts?
Well, they're trying to do it like I would assume that the thought is coming from the way the UFC does it.
I know.
That's how they do it, and
and
that's the only. I'm only saying that because that is. I'm just saying that's probably where they got the idea from. I'm not saying whether it's right or wrong. I think it's silly when they do that. But I mean, I don't know. I don't find it that confusing. I just find it overwritten.
Right.
Right. You got a battle royal. The winner of the battle royal faces Moxley.
Right.
The winner of that match faces the winner of Goto and Tana. The only way, in my opinion, that I'm as happy as I was with Punk versus Tana is if it's Danielson.
Danielson's hurt.
So it's not Danielson.
Well, let's talk about that. So Danielson's out. Well, at least they're keeping him out. Adam Cole, they're keeping out. I think that's it.
Okay.
On top of Punk. So those guys are hurt until Forbidden Door, which is at the end of the month.
Okay.
Well, not CM Punk. CM Punk's out for a while, but I was thinking maybe, yeah. So it's either Jon Moxley or it's maybe Jericho. If they stick Jericho in this battle royal, I mean, I wouldn't hate Jericho versus Tanahashi. We've seen it before. It was a good
We've
match.
seen it before, but it was very good.
I do want to see John Moxley against. I don't know. There was more of a generational thing seeing CM Punk against Tanahashi. I'm going to be a little disappointed. I got to say, it's disappointing. Sad.
Yeah, I agree. And Chris, sorry, like I'm not saying that the situation is confusing. The situation is simple. What's confusing was the person, CM Punk himself, going out and saying, like, I don't know that I really agree with what's happening here, and not really touching on it, and then them trying to like bleed something out. And I don't think it's a bad idea. I will say to respect the title enough to be like, well, you didn't actually beat the champ that we want to be the champ, so you're an interim champ. And if you want to treat the belt like that, and AEW wants to have this like lineage of guys that they've elected, I don't think that that's a bad idea. You just have to convey it properly. So
there you go. MJF's promo. Brandon, thoughts? Everybody's heard it. I'm not going to go blow by blow for it. Okay.
Okay. MJF's promo. Maybe use my brain for a couple minutes here, which is immediately puts it in the top 1% of wrestling shit, because I was like, is this for real at first? Got me there.
Good for you. They got you. I wish things would get me.
Yeah,
I didn't believe this from the beginning. I wish you did.
It did. In the moment, I was like, okay, this feels like he's crossing some barriers here. It obviously wasn't. Like, it doesn't make any sense that someone would give you TV time on their own show to tell you that they're a fucking mark. But hey, this cross some barriers and bridge some gap, and that's what a good story should be. Is like we talk about all the time how it's not that hard to tell a interesting story. It happens all the time in real life. Well, why not just use an interesting story in real life to tell a wrestling story? So that's what we got out of this.
I did like that he came out and he's like, "This isn't MJF talking to you. This is Max Friedman," which is not his real name anyway. Chris, thoughts?
Yeah.
I'm at the point watching wrestling where, I go, almost got me. Like, that's as much as you're going to get me. I'm almost there. I know this ain't real, but I'm almost there. But it's well done if they're telling a story with it. There's nothing else to be said. Yeah. Well acted. My favorite is there was people in the front row with the Burberry scarves on, and they were like making like cocky faces.
Yep.
And I wonder if they bought in it and they were like, "Oh,
he's talking about us.
Oh,
we're marks."
Also, I think when you use that term as a person who watches a lot of videos, like I fall into the YouTube trap of, I hate to call them shoot interviews, but shoot interviews.
Right. That's what they call them. They call them shoot interviews.
I fall into the trap of that. When you refer to, there's a couple things I want to bring up. When you refer to wrestling fans as marks, you do this derogatory way, and they do it in real life.
Yeah. This isn't just a TV. That's what they call you backstage. They don't
cunt. You're a fucking cunt.
It's such a weird thing that they hate the fan base so much. I don't understand it.
Yeah. Now, I had this conversation with a gentleman.
I mean, I kind of hate the customers at the bar too. So I kind of.
Well, I just had this conversation with a gentleman I work that comes into my work, and I explained it to him. He said something joking around. I was like, "Well, I guess the hell with customer service." And then somehow the conversation evolved, and I was like, "Look, let me explain something to you. I consider you a friend. I really do. I enjoy your company. As a customer, you can go fuck yourself." That's the way everybody who's ever worked in the service industry has ever felt about everybody every day of their lives. Mm-hmm. It's this weird paradox of I need you, I hate you. And it's the same thing in the wrestling business. And I think a lot of it comes from the fact that wrestling fans are cunty. Fucking bar patrons and restaurant patrons are fucking awful. They are. I mean, let's just be honest.
Yeah. You have the ones that are completely disrespectful and are assholes.
Yeah.
Then you have the degenerate drunks that are in there all the time.
Right.
They're completely degenerates. So you hate
It's like,
them,
go do
too.
something.
Get a life, man. Get a
Go
life.
fuck,
Get
go,
a life. Get a
grow.
life. Get a.
You know how many times in my head
Sorry
the
for the
words,
rant, but
how many times in my head the words fucking go somewhere have
Do
come
something
out
else.
like just go do something with yourselves.
like
So
Judge
anyway-
Smells. Like Judge Smells. Don't you people
Yeah.
have homes?
Exactly. So anyway, I guess I just went back on what I was saying. I contradicted myself.
Yeah, I think so too. I agree with you now.
I do now. I get where they're coming from.
I
but when
talked
they-
myself out of it. I agree with Maxwell.
When they break that, like, this is television, this is real life, and I wish they had never gotten into that world of seeing how the sausage is made. It's cool. Like, if you're going to talk to, I always find myself watching videos of Greg Valentine. Because he pops up all the time. And the guy, when you listen to him talk, this is a fucking, whatever he did, he's a fucking professional. Right. But that's cool. Once these guys are kind of out of it and they want to talk about things, that's cool. But when they're in it and they're letting you know what's going on, and now nothing's a surprise and the fucking third wall has been shattered, it's just like, I just don't like it. I just feel like, it's just like, why are we doing this? Can we keep the fantasy that we all know is fantasy somewhat alive?
That's the fun.
That's how I feel about going to either of the bars that you guys work at.
We just ruined it for you.
No, I disagree on all fronts. I'll like,
Good.
hey man, I understand where you're coming from. Like, look, it's a fucking job. It gets boring. But when you're getting paid that much at the pro wrestler level, where you can retire in a couple years, it's like, get over that shit. Have some stasis with the crowd where you got to be in the right mindset.
John Cena flew to fucking the Netherlands to meet up with a kid with Down syndrome that was a big fan of his that survived the Ukraine.
Yeah, that rocked.
Dude, be more like John Cena. Come on.
Be like John Cena.
I hope he
thought that
does.
was
I
awesome.
hope he signed a contract for $50,000, and that's why he's mad. I hope that's how much he makes a year.
That'd be fucking, if he made less than me, that'd be fucking great.
Yeah, right?
You're out there talking shit with your scarf, and I'm fucking plunging toilets and yelling at people that don't know how to fucking behave, and I'm making more money, you fucking prick.
Sorry, WWE fans. I don't think he's ever going anywhere.
Oh, dude, if he went to WWE, he'd be at the bottom of the fuck. They already have him in WWE, and the guy that's him in WWE is fucking amazing at it.
Talking about The Miz?
I'm talking about The Miz.
Yeah.
I don't think there's anybody fucking better at fucking being an asshole, literally burying his ass because he got his pants ripped off his body last night, and the eye candy that comes with him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Let's talk about
Still
Maurice for a minute.
Yeah, let's talk about Maurice.
All right. Brandon, Miro's back. Johnny Elite had a open contract, which was ridiculous, to fight anyone in AEW. And Miro comes out and does this thing about God, and he needs to hunt down his God and kill his God. There you go. Brandon, he's back.
Yeah, Miro has found God again. But I was thinking, because the MJF promo just happened and he was bitching about WWE guys, I was like, holy fuck, I forgot that John Morrison is getting paid by this company. And I was wondering if that was direct. Like, I have it like in my head. I'm like, he saw the John Morrison contract and was like, what the fuck?
I mean, I'm going to be honest with you. Do you honestly think, like, I don't think you guys do. MJF, same level of stardom as CM Punk.
No, I wasn't going to get into this, but he reminds me a lot of the people that I work with. And it's like a lot of these like younger guys where it's like there's so much money out there that could be made, and you see money flying around and people making money, and you're like, well, I deserve that money. I'm as good as anyone. Well, what did you do? You didn't do anything yet. Could you do stuff? Are you doing a little bit of stuff? Yeah, but you didn't do anything yet. So a part of me is like, and I don't want to get on the side of the argument where it's like I'm standing up for the owners against the workers, but it's like the guys, like these guys are 40 years old and have done shit. You're 10 feet from the starting line. You turn around going, hey, this is bullshit. It's like, just shut up.
Shut up, put your
That's
head
kinda how
down
I
like
feel.
any person under 25 that just starts a job does. And then eventually you can start complaining. When it gets time for a raise, you start complaining. Not 2 years before your contract's up, if it's real, which I don't think it is. But anyway, back to Miro.
I'm
Very
good on
happy.
Okay, good.
I'm very
Jim
happy, and I'm glad
Jim
he
Ross
beat
said
up.
that Miro married well too. I married well too. Referring to his wife. Jim Ross is checking out Miro's wife. He married well. She's got a great butt. Is there anything else you want to talk about on AEW?
Yeah, fuck Jim Ross. Next.
Okay. Athena versus on Rampage. That was pretty good. Who the fuck did she fight?
Kiera Hogan.
Oh, Kiera Hogan. Yes.
Hogan.
Dear Kiera Hogan. Yeah, that was pretty good. Good match. Brandon.
Yeah, this was wild. I hadn't seen a Ember Moon Athena wrestle in a long time. That finished I don't know what the proper term is. It's an RKO to me off the top rope. Was gnarly.
What the hell is that thing called? She has a name for
I
it.
have no idea.
Flipping stunner, right? RKO.
some kind of like flying stunner thing, but yeah, to execute it is gnarly. Yeah, it's good, man. I like to see the quality of the women's wrestling in AEW rise a little bit, but Rampage in general was a fucking mess.
The Young Bucks
kind
and,
of hate
Young
that
Bucks and
TV
Lucha
show.
was pretty good. Yeah, it kind of stinks. Well, Young Bucks and Lucha Bros was pretty good. Although it's kind of a foregone conclusion that the Bucks were going to win this. But Chris, thoughts?
Well, first of all, that match, when I first saw the ending, I loved it. And then I realized, wouldn't Penta tie his mask on just a little bit fucking better than that?
Actually, in this review, the Bleacher Report, which gave it an A-, of course, it says, it looked way too easy to pull Penta's mask off.
Oh, there you go. Okay.
Place that thing better in the back.
Okay. Athena,
You don't like her?
No, I don't.
I love her.
She embarrassed. I feel embarrassed by it for her.
Dude,
Plus,
when we see her live,
plus-
I hope she waves her finger in your face so much. Oh my god.
Plus she dresses. Plus, they were both wearing the same ring gear. They look like a fucking tag team, the two of them.
I did like the wings. I'm a big fan of the wings.
And all right, can you help me with something here?
Absolutely.
I'm going to tell
Maybe.
a story because I made no. Since we're talking about AEW, and I almost forgot, I made no effort to fix this. AEW went long on Wednesday night. They went into the 11 o'clock hour.
Okay.
My DVR did not.
Yeah, it happens to me.
I don't know what happened at the end. And I said, you know what? I'm not even going to try to find the fuck out. I'm just going to let everybody know how fucking mad I was because it turned off because I was enjoying that match.
It was Mox and Danielson. Or Mox and Garcia.
Garcia.
Yeah, it was pretty good. There you go.
The end or no?
Huh?
Did anything happen? Did storylines advance? Or no? They just.
I don't remember.
There you go.
DVR. Does DVR let you fast forward through the commercials?
Yes. Wonderful.
But now I know I have to record whatever's on after AEW as well as AEW because it might go long and I'll lose the end of the show.
Interesting because sometimes who fucking cares?
You should just look on the fuck. It'll be on Instagram 5 seconds after it happens. So you're right.
We are getting blood and guts though. A blood and guts match. You're not getting a blood and guts. There's blood and guts. Oh, how could I forget this? Jericho's finally getting his head shaved. He's losing that fucking hair.
Yeah.
There's no suspension of disbelief here, right? Like we know the outcome. Jericho's losing that head finally. He saw himself in that video during that fucking match over the weekend, 2 weekends ago, and he was like, "Oh man, it's time to give it up. I can't hold on to it anymore."
Well, can I just add this? He said during an interview or whatever it was, like, during the show, I forget exactly where Jericho was at this point, but he was complaining about how Moxley ripped the hair out of his head to cover up the fact, that he saw that he had a bald spot, and everybody saw that he was balding and was probably fucking talking all kinds of shit. So him being the fucking genius that he is was like, I know how to fix this. Just fucking tell him it's Mox's fault. He ripped the hair out of my head.
Yep. Now he can shave it.
Yep. Love it.
I'm into it.
Love it.
I gotta say, I was totally on the other side of this. I was like, "There's no way that his hair's gone. He's a rock star."
No, it's going. He's
Mhm.
going Rob Halford. I hope so.
I was
also
like,
there's-
well, we're going to see bald Santana.
I mean, is it a big loss if Santana's bald?
No, nobody
Looks
cares.
like his hair
No, but
grows
that's
right back.
Has there ever been a hair versus hair match where like the big guy gets his like you see you? Has there ever been a hair versus hair match where you've been a famous wrestler that you've never imagined bald be bald?
Kevin Nash.
It's always Adrian Adonis.
Jericho cut Kevin Nash's hair off.
Yeah, he did.
And then Kevin Nash was in the film adaptation of the Marvel Comics movie The Punisher.
The Punisher.
There's your answer.
There you go.
Thomas
Kevin
Jane.
Nash.
Didn't he come up recently? Conversation. Thomas Jane. Anyway, I think it was in my household.
Tommy C. Old
I
Tommy
forgot-
C. Tommy J.
I forgot to talk about Britt Baker and Jamie Hayter versus Tony Storm and Ruby Soho. That match fucking ruled. There you go.
Yeah,
Yeah,
It was good. No, I enjoyed it. It was good. And the heels lost, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So that was amazing.
Brandon, go ahead. What were you gonna say?
I was gonna say Jamie Hayter like kind of rose out of from above there quietly. We should
Fucking
not ignore
rules.
that.
I fucking love
There-
her.
That could be the thing, right? We were kind of talking about like what's next for Thunder Rosa. Even though it was a tag loss, I could see Jamie Hayter moving up here. Moving on up.
Yeah. Also, she caught Ruby Soho on her head as well. As I said last year, Jamie Hayter, best in the division at catching people. That's her job. Make sure nobody gets hurt diving outside her. She's a lifeguard. She's throwing preservers out all over the place to make sure these.
She
girls
should
don't
come
kill
and just
themselves.
out in like just a red onesie with a big white plus sign on it.
Anything else to talk about? Anything
Plus
else?
side, yeah. No, I don't think so.
Giant plus side. What do we got coming up next week? I don't even know. I don't care.
Who cares? It'll be on.
We have to wait for the results this week to find out what Forbidden Door is, I'm assuming.
Yeah, we'll have to wait till the end of the Battle Royal, and then
Yeah.
they'll wrestle Mox.
And then the 13th is the other show, which is this week, is next Monday. So by next Wednesday, we'll probably know the card for Dominion is the 13th. So we'll probably know the card by next week for Forbidden Door. Jay White champ. Okada versus getting Okada. I think we're getting Okada versus let's see. We'll get Okada versus the Hangman. There you go. That's my guess. Brandon?
You boys enjoy Hell in a Cell?
Don't watch any. Oh, you know what I did? I turned it on for a minute because my wife was washing her hair and or dyeing her hair, whatever she was doing.
I'm going to wash my hair, and you were like, "Oh,
Dude.
I watch wrestling."
No, I was like play video games. I played video games for a little bit. Still playing The Witcher 3. And then I was like, I'm sick of doing this. And I switched on Peacock. And I caught it just in time to see that Asuka kicking the shit out of fucking Becky Lynch. That match ruled.
Playing Paperboy for PS4.
Man, Paperboy. Yeah, that match ruled. Asuka, Becky Lynch, and Bianca Belair. That was good. And then
The only thing
go ahead.
go ahead. The only thing I saw was Cody Rhodes. But
Yeah, I didn't see any of that. Coming, except for the images. And it was like, coming up next after this match, Bobby Lashley versus some dude. I was like, I don't know. Versus MVP. I was like, I don't know.
Almost an MVP in the same.
They
match.
almost got me with the hook. I was like, all right, maybe I'll check out the rest of the show. And as soon as I saw that, I was like, I don't fucking care. Good stuff.
the Cody Rhodes match was good. I
Was it
genuinely thought it was good. Yeah.
I will say
How's his
this:
tit look.
pretty
What's that?
fucking gnarly.
His tit looked pretty fucking juicy.
Yeah, that's the classic Triple H pec bruise, right? We've all seen that. It look like a tattoo of it. I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
we know what that is. He worked through it because he's cooler than Triple H. He's fighting his way out of the mid card. Couldn't lose that op. But he did a good job. It was entertaining.
First thoughts.
I mean,
Did you watch?
look, I didn't watch a match. I did watch a bit of Monday Night Raw, and
How was that?
I mean, the guy gives it his all. He always does. He doesn't fucking. He ain't no half
Was
stepper.
that Triple H? He's back in the ring?
No, fucking Triple H
Oh,
got
Cody.
a pacemaker. Cody, yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Triple H does have a pacemaker.
He's got a pacemaker. The best when they asked him, like, you think, is that your last match? He's like, I got a pacemaker. It's not going to look good if I have a heart attack and die in the middle of the ring.
I wonder if he's
You
going to
think-
get all skinny. Lex
Crazy.
Luger skinny now.
Well, Lex Luger had a stroke.
Yeah.
That's why he's all skinny. But yeah. So he came out on Monday Night Raw. He claimed that he had torn the pec tendon completely off the bone, which is a complete fucking lie. I mean, he's selling it. I shouldn't say it's a lie. He's selling it because Seth Rollins came out and said, he said, I'm done with Seth Rollins. And in typical WWE fashion, Seth Rollins interrupts him, comes out, shakes his hand. And says, your father would be proud, and he leaves. And you go, okay, Cody Rhodes. He wrestled Seth Rollins at WrestleMania. He won. He wrestled him again. I don't know what the fuck happened. Culminated in Hell in a Cell. Big match, high drama, torn pec. He gets the win. Rough ass fucking match. Should be over. We've reached the climax. We have a resolution. Nah, it's WWE. They're still at war. And you knew that his pec wasn't torn from the tendon wasn't torn from the bone when Seth Rollins came out and started beating him with a sledgehammer.
Yes.
And you're like, I don't think that tendon was, and it was actually my wife who was watching it going to be like, yeah, he didn't tear that tendon right from the bone. And yeah, no, you're not. Because he was also talking about being in Money in the Bank.
Yeah, he's like, I'm going to be in Money in the Bank. Was that the next pay-per-view?
Yeah.
Like, how could he do that?
You can't.
Doesn't he have to reattach the tendon?
You would, yeah, it's fucking, he'd be out for almost a year.
I did see I watched some video that a doctor posted about the tit. And he said that he could work with the tit being torn. That it wouldn't be a problem because there's nothing he can't tear it more. It would just be discomfort until he goes in and gets surge or whatever.
Grinding the rest of your shoulder.
Yeah.
This is like that time for Cody Rhodes now. I was just talking to one of my friends that got fired from my place of work a couple months ago, and he's doing a road trip now, and he sends me the map of the road trip, and it's like days 1 through 4, I'm driving from Philadelphia to Wisconsin. I'm like, I told him, I was like, about day 2, you're going to be stuck in the middle of Ohio and be like, what the fuck did I do? That this is about that time of year for Cody Rhodes where he's like, okay, WrestleMania was sweet. I can do whatever I want. Now it's, we get like, Vince is in his ear. You got to be, how about Money in the Bank? How about the next show? And it's like, oh man, what did I do? This isn't as exciting as I thought it was going to be.
You can go get surgery after you just do Money in the Bank. You can win Money in the Bank. And then go get surgery, and oh Jesus Christ!
I think it was someone said he's had 13 matches since he showed up at WrestleMania, and that's more than all the matches he had in AEW leading up to it because he's doing all these house shows too.
Jesus,
he's busting his ass,
out of
man.
Shape, yeah.
Man, that titty, man. You got a fucking loose titty.
All of a sudden you start working 5 days a week. It's like, Jesus Christ.
I don't want to work 5 days a week. My feet are killing me when I'm working 5 days a week. Not with this bullshit. Works for
this
suckers.
fucking bullshit is exactly what it is.
All right, any final thoughts? Anything to talk about?
No, sir.
Nothing? No, we're good. Let's go.
We're good.
Thanks for joining us this week and join us here every week at Wrestling is Hard. Follow us on Instagram and Twitter at hard4 wrestling. Subscribe and follow. Tell your friends. Brandon and Chris, I'm Jim. We'll be back here next week.